Hello class, welcome to the next segment in Lecture 2. And in the previous segment, I left you with a bit of a cliffhanger, asking how do we diagnose a pressure gradient force on a map where the pressure is technically the same at every point in the map. And that question is what we'll be attempting to answer during the course of this segment. So with that, we'll go ahead and dive right into it. So in order to diagnose the pressure gradient force, we have to make some modifications to our equation. And the pressure gradient force equation that we derived in the previous segment. Now, to make those modifications, then we have to use a couple definitions to accomplish that. So first of which is going to be the hydrostatic balance, which is dp/dz, change in pressure with height, is equal to minus rho g. So that's one definition that we'll use. And another definition that we'll use is a definition for geopotential. Geopotential is the amount of energy that's required to lift a unit mass to a particular point in the atmosphere or to a particular height. And that's given by d phi is equal to g times dz, where g is the acceleration due to gravity, dz is your change in height, and d phi is your change in geopotential energy. So that's what we're going to be using to accomplish this. So the first thing that we will want to do is actually move this g over to the left-hand side of the hydrostatic balance equation. So they get 1 over g times dp/dz is equal to minus rho. And then you'll notice that here I have g dz in the denominator here, and I also have g dz on the right-hand side of this equation. So that means I can take this d phi and plug it in for this denominator here in the equation that we have right now. And if we do that, we get the following equation. We get dp d phi, the derivative of pressure over the derivative of geopotential, is equal to minus rho. And another thing that we can do is we can separate those differentials out, and the reason why will become a little bit clearer later on. But first, we do have to explain something that happens once we reach to this step. We get dp is equal to minus rho times d phi, but this actually causes the negative sign to disappear when we make the substitution. And you might be wondering, what sort of mathematics are you trying to pull here? This doesn't seem to make any sense. To understand why this negative sign goes away, we first have to look at a bit of a conceptual diagram, which we'll go ahead and put up on the screen. So let's consider for a moment an area of low pressure, which might look something like this, a cross-section of low pressure, and also keep the equation up here on the top so we can remind ourselves what that looks like. Now, notice how as I go towards the area of lower pressure, the pressure decreases. So here at this particular point, my pressure is 700 millibars, and then as I go to the left-hand side of the screen here, my pressure drops from 700 to 600 millibars, then to 500 millibars, and then to some pressure that's below 500 millibars. So the point is, as I get closer to the low, as I'm staying at a constant height, as I'm getting closer to the low, my pressure is in fact decreasing. Now, if we take a look at, so remember, for an isobaric surface or a 500 millibar map as an example of an isobaric surface, everything that's being plotted is at the same pressure level, and we're plotting the height at which that pressure occurs in the atmosphere. Now, if we think about a pressure, let's say 500 millibars, as I get closer to the low, as I'm following this 500 millibar contour, you'll notice that my height in the atmosphere is decreasing, which also means that my geopotential in the atmosphere is decreasing. So as I get closer to the low, as I follow this line of constant pressure, my height is decreasing, my geopotential is decreasing. But also, when we looked at just a constant height as opposed to being on a constant pressure surface, so in this green line, we're on a constant pressure surface. If we're at a constant height, which is this orange arrow, you'll also notice that we decrease our pressure as we get closer to the low. Therefore, since my pressure decreases as I get towards the low in the orange arrow, which is the constant height, and my height decreases as I go along the green arrow, which is the surface of constant pressure, since those two quantities both decrease as I get towards the low, that means this negative sign actually has to go away. So that's why this negative sign goes away, is because my change in pressure also follows my change in geopotential. As I go towards higher pressures, I go towards higher geopotential, and as is illustrated in the diagram here, as I go towards lower pressures, I also go towards lower values of geopotential. So that's why the negative sign goes away in the equation that we left off with on the previous slide. So continuing on with that equation, and by the way, if you feel like you may not understand that, then I would recommend rewatching my explanation on that previous slide to make sure you understand why that negative sign goes away and why, as pressure decreases, your geopotential height also decreases. But continuing on with the equation that we left off with, what we can do is we can divide both sides of this equation by an increment in the x direction and also an increment in the y direction. And if we do that, we get a result that looks something like this, where we get partial p with respect to x is equal to rho times partial phi with respect to x. And if we do the same thing for the y direction, we get partial p with respect to y is equal to rho times, or density times, partial phi with respect to y. Now, well, we have a dp dx here and we have a dp dy here, which are two terms that we had in the pressure gradient force we worked with in the previous segment. So we get minus 1 over rho dp dx, dp dy, dp dz with the appropriate unit vectors out in front. What we can do is then we can substitute these values into this equation. So we can substitute in dp dx is equal to rho d phi dx. We can take that whole quantity and plug it in here. And then same thing with this quantity. We can plug it in here to get a result that looks like this. So our pressure gradient force becomes minus 1 over rho times pressure gradient is equal to minus 1 over rho times, we can factor out a constant density, a constant factor of density, times d phi dx I hat plus d phi dy j hat. And if we did the same thing with the z direction up here, we get d phi dz k hat. And you'll notice that the densities cancel out, so we're just simply left with the pressure gradient force for, say, a 500 millibar map is equal to the negative gradient in geopotential, or also the negative gradient in geopotential height, or just negative gradient in height. And this is actually a really nice form of the pressure gradient force to be working with because we eliminate density from the equation. And just like mass, density is not a variable that we can easily observe in the atmosphere. It's not like we can capture, say, a blob of air, measure its mass, and then divide by its volume. We just can't do that. It's really difficult to actually observe what the density is in the atmosphere. So that makes this form of the pressure gradient force highly desirable just from the fact that we eliminate density from the equation and we only have to worry about the geopotential height gradient. So if we go back to the 500 millibar map that we had earlier, we have lower values of height, which means lower values of geopotential in this region, and higher values of geopotential or higher heights in this region. So the geopotential gradient points from the lower values to the higher values, but again, we have that negative sign telling us the pressure gradient force points in the opposite direction. So since the height gradient points something like this, the pressure gradient force points in the opposite direction, which is highlighted in this purple color here. So the pressure gradient force points from high pressure to low pressure, but also it points from higher heights to lower heights. So it's really nice how that works out because it's a nice consistent rule. If you have high pressure to low pressure, if you're pointing from high pressure to low pressure, your pressure gradient force points from that higher pressure to the lower pressure. And then the same rule also applies if you're looking at, say, a 500 millibar map. Your pressure gradient force points from your higher heights to your lower heights. So that's how we diagnose pressure gradient force on, say, a 500 millibar map. That's going to do it for this segment. And in the final segment, we will take a look at an example of using the pressure gradient force to actually diagnose a potential scenario in the atmosphere and also sort of check your understanding. So with that, I will see you all in the next segment.